Welcome to Everyday Linux User. I'm trying a new feature called I Tried It So You Don't Have To. And what we're going to do in this series is to try out different Linux distributions that are not as well heard of. So for instance, today's video is all about MABOX Linux. So if I go here, this is MABOX Linux, and you'll see it says it's a fast, lightweight and functional Linux desktop. Relaxed rolling release, Manjo based with OpenBox window manager. So yes, that's what we've got. We've got MABOX Linux, and that's what I'll be trying today, so you don't have to. So it's kind of interesting that Manjaro itself is based on top of Arch, and then we've got MABOX based on top of Manjaro. Now that may seem strange, but if you think Linux Mint is built on top of Ubuntu, and Ubuntu is built on top of Debian, so it could work. From a distro watch point of view, you're looking quite a long way down the list to see MABOX. MABOX is number 52 on the list, 185 hits a day. Let's see what it is. Now the way I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do an install guide, I'm not going to create a USB drive. If you want to create a USB drive, then follow my guide on either Ventoy or any of the other install guides. I show how to create the USB drives. All you have to know is that you go to maboxlinux.org and you click on this download link here, go to the latest folder, and then you can pick the ISO image that you need. So there's two there. I'm not sure what the difference between the two of them are, but you just pick either of those, and that's what you would burn to your USB drive. For this series, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be using a virtual machine. The point of this is to show you the nuts and bolts of the system. It's not necessarily to say how brilliant it is or how bad it is. In fact, it's just here is MABOX Linux. You might not have seen it. You might like the look of it. So here's my virtual box. And you can see I've got loads of virtual boxes already. And we're going to create a new one. Now I'm going to call it MABOX. It's Linux based, and we're going to go for Arch 64-bit because it's Manjaro based. We'll give it 8 gigabytes of RAM. We'll create a virtual hard drive. We'll make it 25 gigabytes. And we'll put it on to my SSD. And in it goes. So there we go. There's a couple of other settings I like to make. Go into system, go to the processor and up that all the way. And that should do. So now if I click start, it's going to ask me to choose the ISO image. So if I click here, click add, and I go to my downloads folder and I'm going to click MABOX Linux, choose, and away we go. So this is MABOX Linux, and you can choose open source drivers or proprietary. I'm going to go for proprietary, I've got no reason not to. You can also change the language here. Like that, key table. And then we're going to boot with proprietary drivers. I'm going to minimize this window here because it's a bit noisy. You see if I go full screen mode, it doesn't particularly like it. So we're going to go back out to window mode. Obviously if you're not within a virtual machine, it's going to work fine. So I'm going to go for the installation, and you should click on that button there. I don't know if you can just hover over it. Now you have to click on it, and then you've got this install MABOX here, so I'm going to click on that. So I'm going to choose British English. It's already chosen my where I am. Leave that as default. I'll erase the disk because there's nothing on it. Create my users. You can see my summary. Install now. And that's how you install MABOX. So I saved you the trouble of watching the entire installer. I've just restarted the video at the point of completion. So now I'm going to restart the computer. So as you can see, we're now at the login screen. And let's see if we've got full screen mode yet. We don't. So before we go any further, I want to sort out the full screen mode. So let's see if we can do that already. It's not. I think we're going to have to use guest editions. So we're going to insert the guest editions CD here. Couldn't find it, got to download it. It's not actually opening it as a terminal. So we're going to just copy the path. As usual, I forgot to put sudo. And what we're going to do now is reboot the computer. And still no full screen mode. Interestingly, up here we do have, it's just a wallpaper that's not resizing. It is. This is the trouble with using something like OpenBox as a Windows manager. It's not very good at refreshing itself. There we go. So full screen does work, it's just a little bit more manual than you'd like it to be. There you go, we can move that to there. We can move that to bottom right. Move it to the bottom left instead. So MABOX is obviously for people, it's not necessarily for the everyday Linux user, I don't think. OpenBox isn't the most user friendly for new users. We're not going to hold that against MABOX. MABOX may be not for new users, but as this is called Everyday Linux User, I'm reviewing it as if it is for new and not necessarily technical wizards. So we've got this double arrow thing up here, and this brings up a menu. So you've got navigation through your folders. This is quite nice. I like this. The home directory, you can see what's downloaded, your documents, you can look at all the wallpapers, so I can change that wallpaper, I think. Well, it actually loads the wallpaper, and then you have to right click and do set as wallpaper. Not overly keen on that one. You can do random wallpaper. You've got command palette, you've got side menu options, screen locker, you can choose to install popular apps, Conky settings. Oh, so I could have reloaded my Conky and that would have probably put things where I needed it to be. So that's my bad on that one. We've got Pi Radio, which is an internet radio player. So that worked. Internet radio stations, weather forecast. Let's see if that works. It does. A nice terminal-based weather system there. So across the top here, we got this menu here. So you've got this one here that brings up a full side panel menu, and then we've got this button here brings up a smaller menu, so we can see what applications are installed. And so we've got Clip It, which I assume is a screenshot tool. Doesn't really do much. We've got PC Man FM File Manager. You can adjust your Light DM greeter, which is your login screen. You can show the desktop. You've got Terminal Emulator, you've got Terminator, Weather Forecast. Under development, you've got Genie, which is an IDE for development purposes. Under graphics, not very much there at all. Something called Flameshot, that's a screenshot tool. Is that where things are going? Oh, Clippy's a clipboard manager, and Flameshot is your screenshot tool. So you can upload it to the cloud, you can save the screenshot, and then you can choose where you want to put it to. Got Audacious Music Player, Pulse Audio is installed. Under Internet, Firefox is the web browser. You've already seen the Pi Radio, and then we've got some system tools as well. Can't open a web browser without going to the Everyday Linux User YouTube channel. And there we have it. The next step, if you can also get to this menu by right clicking, you don't have to click up here for the menu. You can right click on the desktop and it'll bring up the menu as well. Other things you can look at are these shortcuts. So if I wanted a text editor, I can just press the super and edit key and it takes me into this editor here, which is Genie, so it's gone into the IDE. You can open a web browser, Super and W. You can toggle full screen mode F11. I'm not sure what that is. Right, so if I open like the file manager, I can do F11 like that, and that makes it full screen. And you can half screen it by using the arrows like that. That's quite nice. You can move it around the screen, and you can move around different desktops, Super and 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I could have that one open there, I could go to the next desktop and I can have a terminal open. Interestingly, it's not letting me go to 3 and 4, so just 1 and 2 for desktops. So on this left menu, I saw that one of the things was install popular apps. So you can install print and support. Let's have a look at some of the hardware support before we start looking at applications. Now, because I'm in a virtual machine, I'm going to have to use a Wi-Fi dongle to connect to the internet via Wi-Fi. So I've plugged in a Wi-Fi dongle. So if I click up here, you'll see that I'm using a wired connection. But if I now go to my devices down here, go to USB, and I put on this adapter here, I should be able to get to the internet. And you can see I can do that. There's my Wi-Fi network there. Let's check it works. Connection established. But we are going to disconnect for that and we're going to stay on the wired. The other thing was, you'll see there was printer support. So if I go to the settings manager, there's not much there. So I'm going to install the printing support. Of interest, you'll notice that the amount of RAM being used is 708 meg, which is incredibly light. And you can choose optional dependencies. So I can choose HP Lit, but you can choose a print manager tool, scanning utility, things like that. Whilst that's doing that, let's see if what else you can install. So under the popular programs, you can install Chromium, Opera, Pale Moon, Thunderbird. So Chromium, Opera, Pale Moon are all browsers. Thunderbird's an email client. FileZilla's for FTP. I'm not sure what Deluge is. And then you've got Telegram, which is like a chat thing. Under multimedia, you've got Kodi, VLC, OBS Studio, Audacious, which is already installed, and then SM Player and Simple Screen Recorder, which is what I'd normally use to record my videos, but because I'm doing it via virtual machine, the screen recorder's on the actual main host. Under graphics, you've got GIMP, Inkscape, Blender, Office, Abbey World, and Numeric. I assume it's numeric, but it could be numeric. Ebook reader and writer, Calibra for creating ebooks. Under games, you've got Steam that you can install, Loop Twist, play on Linux. Backup, you can install Timeshift, and then there's VirtualBox and GNOME boxes for virtualization. Obviously, I'm not going to install that because we have virtualization on virtualization. Interestingly, no LibreOffice available for the install popular apps. And then up here, where you can right click and you can see there's an add remove software. So if I search for things like LibreOffice in here, it's there and I can install it. I'm going to wait for this to finish downloading and installing first. If I want to install Chrome, is that available? Chrome is not available. So I go into preferences. You can enable the AUR support, which means now when I click close, I should be able to search for Chrome again. Probably worth clicking here. So you can see the HP software is now finished, I believe. No, it's still going. It's finished the download, it's now doing the rest of it. Back in the software store, Google Chrome's now available. So I can click that, download it, click apply. And away we go. So this is going to sit here and do this until the print manager has finished installing. So you can see the HP printer is now successfully installed, so I can click close there and we can continue with installing Chrome. And that says it's successfully finished. We can see if that's true. Right click, Internet, and there's Google Chrome. And there we have it, perfectly good. And like I said before, LibreOffice is available here. So I'm looking at the AUR there, so we'll just look in the ordinary and we just install the fresh version. Click that, click apply. It's got optional dependencies. I'm just going to click choose and let it go. And it tells me what's going to be installed. Click apply. Interesting that my RAM usage has shot up to 2.62 gigabytes. Wonder what's causing that. Let's see if there's any system tools for helping with memory management. Task Manager. Power Mac Manager has taken a lot of the memory. So the package manager is taking up all of the memory at this moment in time, which is going to go away as soon as you've installed your packages, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. And you can, of course, if you don't want to use these tools, you can use the terminal to install software from the command line. And I think if you're one of these people that's going to use OpenBox as your window manager, then you're probably going to be command savvy in the first place. This isn't really for new users or inexperienced users. This is for people that have been using Linux a while and they're probably tinkerers in terms of that they like to adjust things and they know quite a lot about the Linux ecosystem, I'd have thought. You would see that when I went down to the system, there is the Manjaro printing, so you can manage the printing now. Interesting, it says that this site can't be reached. Does that mean CUPS is not running? So LibreOffice is now installed, so if I right click, go to Office, I can load up LibreOffice Writer. You can see my memory's gone right back down now. I've closed the installation tool, so we're going to close that there. So I've rebooted. I'll try it again. The printer isn't working, so I'm going to install this print manager here. It says a tool for managing print jobs and printers. So CUPS isn't working quite as well as I'd like it to. And it says you've got to restart, so we'll do that. And I'm going to show you something now with the restart. Now you've seen how I've got my system all working. When it reboots, I'll show you what happens. Now this is only a VirtualBox thing, but you've got to imagine somebody starting with a Linux distribution for the first time. They're not going to install it straight to the hardware without seeing what it's like first. So this is a bit fiddly. So you can see it's loaded again in a small window. It can't seem to get this failed to register VBox client thing coming up. It does show you connection status and other notifications as well. So what I'm having to do is change my virtual screen. If I come out of full screen mode, go up to view, virtual screen, and I can go down to 1920 by 180. But you'll see it doesn't then refresh this bit. So with Conky, what I can do is I can go up here, go down to Conky settings, and I can choose reload Conky. And you see that puts everything in its right place. Then you've got the wallpaper situation. You can choose here, go down to your wallpapers, and you can go down to here and you can choose your wallpaper, or you can do random wallpaper and it will pick another one. But every time I want to use MABOX, I have to do that. You'll also see there's this welcome screen at launch. It's got the ability to update your system, install popular apps and things like that, so you can work your way through that. Printing support, now I've installed that printer. Let's see if that gives us anything more. I just clicked on HP Device Manager, it's not doing very much. Yeah, definitely struggling with the printer situation. One thing I want to try is Bluetooth, so what I'll do, I've got my USB device and we'll go for the Bluetooth radio. If we right click, we can go down to settings and you'll see the Bluetooth manager there. Start that automatically. Now I'm going to turn my speaker onto Bluetooth mode.
Bluetooth mode.
That's my speaker coming on. So if I now click search, there it is. It's found the speaker, so I can double click that.
Connecting.
And my Bluetooth speaker is now connected. Okay, so Bluetooth is fine. The only thing bothering me now is the whole printer situation. So we've got this other menu here, MABOX config. So we've got the config control center, which gives you this. So PowerMac is your package manager. Then you've got the updater. You can choose your kernels. This chooses your resolution. So you can choose any one of these. You've got LX Rounder as well. Then we've got Tint to panel. That's your panels at the top. Auto start programs, you've got look and feel, so you've got your colorizer, open box configuration manager, panel manager. You can choose themes, colorizer, conky are these panels down the side here. You've got your compositors, system and hardware, and then you've got help. You can also choose all these things from the menu, and you can choose what appears on these panels, for instance, at the top. So by default I've got CPU, memory and network usage. I can do disk I/O, I can restart the panels if I want to. Theme manager, wallpaper, I can choose another random wallpaper like that. And you can do all the things that you can do in the config manager from this menu here. So all in all, let's summarise my experience with MABOX. What I would say is installation is fairly straightforward. It's almost the same as Manjaro. You use an open box. Open box isn't the most user friendly if you are a new user, or if you are the everyday Linux user. It's you're going to need to work your way around it, get used to the system really. And what you're getting for as a trade-off is low memory usage, 521 megabytes. You can achieve a similar thing using something called Q4 OS, which uses the Trinity desktop, or you can use one of the other lightweight window managers. Hardware wise, Bluetooth worked fine, and you see Wi-Fi worked okay. I'm within VirtualBox, so I'm going to make an allowance, but had a bit of fun with resolutions and stuff. Printers I haven't got working. I'm not sure why that is. Given a bit more time, I would find out. And if I'm installed on bare metal, maybe it would be easier to do. But I can't get the print manager to run at this moment in time. Software is easy enough to install. You've got this install popular apps. I feel like there's a few missing off there, like under the Office. Why is LibreOffice not under a popular app, or Kingsoft Office, or OnlyOffice, or one of the other Office suites? It's good that you got games if you want to install games and virtualization. There's quite a bit there. There is a general package manager as well. It doesn't have Flatpak available by default. You'd have to install that yourself and get that up and running. Neither does it have Snap, but that's not surprising. All in all, MABOX, it's okay. It's essentially Manjaro with OpenBox. The theming is quite nice. Would I recommend it to the everyday Linux user? Probably not. It's going to cause the everyday Linux user more problems than it's worth, and you could probably achieve the same thing if you're at the level that you can install this and use this comfortably. You could probably just install Arch, but to be honest, you're better off sticking with Manjaro than using MABOX at this moment in time. I can understand the people that have developed this using it because they've obviously got a specific use case that they and a specific workflow. But for your average user, stick to Manjaro if you want Manjaro, or there are other systems like MX Linux. There's better lightweight solutions for the everyday Linux user than MABOX. And that's the end of the review. So I tried it, so you didn't have to. Did you like it? If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Linux User.